It's Blues America time. Blues America time.
The blues is a feeling. The blues is life. The blues is stories and legend. The blues is the heart and soul of America. It is our history and national standard. Everything started from the blues. It's time now for Blues America. Blues America, broadcasting coast to coast. Let's talk about the blues, shall we?
Yes, let's talk about the blues. This is your source for blues talk. A little blues program broadcasting every week out of the Sonoran Desert between Tucson and Sedona on our 50,000-watt transmitter and streaming everywhere online on your audio media device. Here's what you need to know. The website is bluesamerica.com. It features today's playlist, the photo of the week, and information about past programs and guests. If you missed anything, that's okay. Just visit the website and press rewind from our 2-hour streaming audio feed available now. Email the show at bluesamerica@gmail.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. Coming up on today's program, I speak with the king of Arizona blues, Big PETE Pearson. And if you like what you hear today, Phil Frazier of the Rebirth Brass Band will be featured on next week's program. Big PETE Pearson coming up next. Now I'm in charge of this mess, your blues junkman and humble host, that guy, Drew Verbis.
America. Now that's some home cooking.
Big PETE Pearson is an internationally recognized blues recording artist who's barely left the stage in the past 50 years. Before arriving to Phoenix, Pete made a name for himself in Texas, singing with T.D. Bell and the Cadillacs, and helping to jumpstart the careers of Blues Boy Hubbard and his cousin, W.C. Clark. Pete is famous in his hometown of Phoenix, where he's recognized as the king of Arizona blues. He's in the Blues Hall of Fame. He's released 5 major solo albums. He writes most of his own songs. He's won numerous awards and performed with some of the biggest stars in blues, including Big Joe Turner, B.B. King, T-Bone Walker, Etta James, Little Junior Parker, Johnny Ace, Henry Gray, Big Mama Thornton, and many more. Please welcome Big PETE Pearson to Blues America.
the president.
All right, we're sitting here with Big Pete Pearson. How you doing, Big?
Hey, I'm hanging in there, man. I'm doing pretty good.
Pete, you've been doing blues here in Arizona for how many years now?
Well, I first came out here in 1956, I believe it was, 56, 57, somewhere along there. So I've been out here pretty good while.
Where did you said you came out here in 57, Pete. Was that from Texas?
Yeah, I came out here from Austin.
Tell me how your story began out there.
In Austin, I started out as a young kid there in Austin, Texas. I was raised around Pflugerville, Texas, just kind of northeast of Austin. And then I was living with my grandparents. We moved to Austin, and it was a fellow there named Matthew Robinson. I was about 6, 7, and I used to just sit on our front porch. He was living close to us, and he was sitting on his front porch playing his guitar. And my grandparents wanted me to take piano lessons, so I did, but I wasn't into piano stuff. I wanted to learn how to play the guitar. And so they sent me for piano lessons anyway, but it wasn't my bag. I would learn, and I would do my best to forget because I didn't want to do it. And so I told my grandfather I wanted a guitar. I want to learn how to play guitar. And he said, "Well, I don't know, son." He said, "Those things cost a lot of money." I said, "Well, find me a cheap one, you know." And I'll never forget. He went down on Red River. It was a little secondhand store. I think he paid $8 for it or $5 for it. It was just a little cheap guitar with a pickup on it. And I didn't even know what the pickup was at the time. And so I went over and I sat on the front porch and I would be strumming on it. It wasn't tuned. And Matthew Robinson, my neighbor, said, "Hey, boy," I said, "bring that guitar over here. Let me see it." I went over there and he tuned it up. He said, "You want to learn how to play this?" I said, "Yeah, I want to learn how to play it, you know." So he sit down with me. Man, I learned how to play that sucker in almost a week. I was strumming away in a week time. I was strumming and carding. He said, "You catch on fast." And he said, "Let me show you a few other things." So he showed me how to really get with it, you know. And he said, "Man, you catch on really quick, son." He said, "You keep coming over here. So I'm going to teach you how to really get hot on this thing." And he did, you know. Not trust of a woman, 'cause you lie all the time. You're not a trustworthy woman. You know you're lying all the time. You said you really love me. You got lying on your mind. First met you, baby. You said your name was Fannie Mae. Don't lie to me, girl. Yes, when I first met you, woman, you said your name was Fannie Mae. You say you might leave tomorrow. I found out you was here to stay. And by the time I turned 7, I was playing guitar for a spiritual group, you know. I said, "Oh man, I'm really going at it." And when I turned 9, well, there's a couple of guys had heard about me, I guess, from playing spiritual, and they came by and said, "Well, how would you like to go play with us this weekend? We need a guitar player, you know." And they said, "That you sing?" I said, "Yeah, I can sing and play." And the drummer name was Ricky Mills, and the guitar player was named Roosevelt, but we called him Sonny, and everybody called him Sonny Ace. And he said, "Well, I can play bass if you play guitar, since you can sing, you know." I said, "Okay." So he didn't play guitar; he played the bass, and I sang. We took off, you know, going. I thought I was going to a church. And we stopped on Red River and 6th Street at the Triple J Bar. when we stopped, I thought, well, they're just going in and pick up cigarettes because they was pretty well grown up, you know. And, so I'm sitting in the back seat, you know, with my little guitar and my little bitty amp. I had a little amp about so big, you know. He said, okay, we can unload here. And I looked around and said, man, to myself, man, this ain't no church, you know. They drinking beer in there. That's a bar. I can't go in there, you know. And they said, it's okay. He said, we're just going to play. Can you sing the blues? Yeah, I can sing the blues, but I'm not supposed to because my grandparents don't like for me to sing the blues. They want me to sing spiritual. They said, do you know how to sing blues? I said, yeah, well, they're going to pay you. You know, I said, okay. So I did my first show.
Baby, I don't know why I love you. I don't know why I feel this way. A woman, I don't know why I love you. I don't know why I feel this way. Hey, I can love you, babe, 24 hours of the day. Well, it's 5 o'clock. It's early in the morning. It's 6 o'clock. It's late in the evening, I wanna squeeze it. Till the broad daylight, I wanna love you. Till the morning bright, I wanna love you, baby. 24 hours of the day.
And then it was a regular thing. Every Friday or Saturday, we would play there on 6th Street in Red River. My grandparents said, well, this group is really busy. Y'all working a lot on now. So y'all working every weekend now. That's great, you know. But they thought I was going to play at a church. I was only making 50 cents, 75 cents a night, you know. And I was hiding in under the house in the cigar box because I wasn't supposed to make no money. I did that for a few years, man. I had a lot of money in that house. But I did decide there, well, maybe I can pull it out and cash it in, you know, get greenbacks. Then by that time, you know, after I did it for a while, I got pretty good on the guitar, and then I wanted to play bass. I learned how to play the bass and guitar, and I mean, I was pretty hot, you know. Then I started working with blues, Bob Hubbard, and the jazz, and it was just music in my life, you know. And it's been a fun trip, and I wouldn't trade anything for what I did in the music field all these years. I mean, it's been good for me.
Man, that's a great story, Pete. That's a pretty powerful story. Pete, how old are you now?
I'm 78. I'll be 79 my next birthday here, and it's coming up pretty soon.
We're just talking about your blues beginning, the journeys here in Texas, 9 years old, singing. That's something else. Now, What was life like back then?
It was really rough for a black musician in those days because the bar that we was playing in, we couldn't drink out of the bottles, but they wouldn't let us drink out of the beer bottles. We had to bring our own glass, say a jar or something, but couldn't use the restroom. We had to go to the alley, and you're taking a chance because you could get picked up for indecent exposure by using the restroom in the alley, but we didn't have much choice. And that's pretty much the way it was in those days. And we played all over the country. We played Arkansas, and we never did Mississippi, but we did Arkansas and Tennessee. And then we did West Texas. And we had some pretty scary experiences coming through Arkansas. Because we had to buy gas in some places, and Ricky, he was the older of the three of us, and you know he took care of us. I don't know how old Sonny was. I think Sonny was probably 18, 19, give or take a year. We stopped for gas, and so Ricky told me, "Well, we want to fill it up." He said, and the guy asked him, "If you what?" And he said, well, if you got some gas, I'd like to get some gas. He said, if you what? And Ricky said, what do you mean? I don't understand. And he said, you're supposed to say, if you please, boy. And well, Ricky was a boxer. And I'm being a little kid too. I was pretty young, you know, and I was so scared that we was going to get in all kinds of trouble. And he said, man, just put some gas in the car. I'm going to tell you if you please. And we figured, well, we're in trouble now because Ricky going to start a fight. He didn't say if you please. And the guy he picked up a tire tool and Ricky knocked him out.